morning, good evening, and good afternoon, based on various time zones from where they have connected. And this is our sixth virtual meetup for Indianapolis, and the topic will be for applying policies. And today, our presenter will be Shravan Lingam, and I think as everyone know about him. So before we start, let me go ahead with the introductions. So this is our sixth meetup, and myself, I'm Ikram Mohammed, and I'm a America, which is an insurance company based out of Indianapolis, and I have been a Mulesoft meetup leader and also mentor. And I have 15 plus years of IT experience, and I'm certified developer and a platform architect. And I have another moderator here as well, who's Amit. Sure that he joined today. So even he's a organizer for Indianapolis meetup, and he's a technical architect at Cognizant, and he's also meetup leader. So, without any further delay, I'll go ahead and ask Shravan to introduce himself. I know he doesn't need any introduction, but for the people who still need some introduction, from him, you can go ahead.
Vikram, can you give me the access to share the screen?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Give me a minute.
And guys, if you have anything, just chat because giving host privileges made us to mess up. So just chat if you want. And meanwhile, I would like to share my screen. If you can stop sharing your screen, Vikram.
Yes.
Great. So I'll be sharing my screen. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Ravan Lingam. So, a little introduction about myself. I don't want to waste more time because we are already 15 minutes lag. So, I am a senior integration developer and architect at Bilinium. I am currently based out of Poland, and I am also one of the Mulesoft ambassadors. I'm also a Mulesoft meetup leader for Hyderabad location, and I do write articles. So I am a technical writer, speaker, and trainer. And I am the owner of Mulesoft Tech Zone. One of the you can find me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, and Twitter as well. And you can find my all articles on shravanlingam.com. So this is a little introduction about myself. And before going to start our actual session, I would like to speak about few things about Mulesoft community. Okay, so many of them might have been like knowing about training.mulesoft.com, but people who are new to Mulesoft or Mulesoft community, we do have official training platform organized by Mulesoft itself. So you can go to training.mulesoft.com, register there. You can find self-paced training, free trainings, paid trainings, everything. So if you want to start your developer certification, I think most of you are aware that if you complete this self-paced free training, at the end of the session you will be awarded with a free attempt of developer certification exam. So please try to make use of this opportunity. And next is Anypoint platform, which is commonly widely used. We do have free trial accounts for Anypoint platform, but it is valid only till 1 month. And most of you keep on asking the questions that should we use a new mail ID to register again? No, it is not necessary. You can use the same mail ID, but you have to use a different username. And remember that again, there is a question you keep on asking that whether we will be having our old applications which were designed in design center or the applications which are deployed in runtime manager. No, everything will be deleted. It will be a new account, but the mail ID will be same. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, I know we are widely using social media groups like Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, and all, but it is always better even if you know the answer for your question. Once you know the answer for your question also, it's better to update your question. You can once you log into help.mulesoft.com, you can log in there. If you know the answer, you can write an article on what is the issue and how did you resolve it, or you can post your questions directly on help.mulesoft.com, so that anyone who faces the similar issue will be able to answer. It will be helpful to you. All right, next, exam readiness sessions. You know that exam readiness sessions are being conducted in India, so it is like only in IST zone every month. So once you are prepared with your training, or you have undergone your MCIA training or MCPA training or developer training, and if you are about to give an exam, I think these exam readiness sessions are very useful for you to crack the exam. But these are only during the IST zone. You can reach out to me if you want to know more about this registration details. I can provide you at the end of the session. All right. Next, there is a Mulesoft developer survey. Guys, please do attend this survey, which will help Mulesoft community to provide you the best out of best. Okay, how they want, what is that you need from Mulesoft community to improve. All right. So I will provide you this link as well in the chat after at the end of the session. Please remind me if I forget. Next, if you want to become a speaker or leader, you can go to meetups.mulesoft.com. You'll find an option to become a leader or become a speaker. If you want to become a speaker, you can always reach out to the Mulesoft leaders of that particular city or a group. They will help you out. If you have some content, they will also help you to create the content or deliver in that way. This is one of the chances for you to so most of them ask, right, do we get free vouchers and all. Okay, if you become a speaker for an event, you will be awarded with a training voucher, which in turn, if you uh, attend that training, you will be also awarded with a certification voucher. We can discuss more details about the community if we have time at the end of the session, but for now, this is all about this. And about trivia quiz, at the end of the session we will be playing trivia quiz, and most of the questions, or almost all questions, will be coming out of this session itself. So please concentrate on the session, on each point. And we will be using Kahoot app. Those who are new to Kahoot app, I will let you know how to play it, but most of them might have already played Kahoot. So we'll be using app for today's session. All right. Next, at the end of this session, guys, this is really important for us, especially feedback. Okay, you'll be getting a mail to provide your feedback, good or bad. Please do provide your feedback. That helps us to improve ourselves. All right. So without wasting time, I would like to continue about today's session. Just to make it interactive, I just wanted to you guys to say let's continue. So say yes, so that now we can continue our session, start our session.
And Steven, do you want the persons to, I mean, me to stop you whenever any questions comes, or you want to start?
Yes, I mean, meanwhile, I'll be checking this chat now and then. So probably that would be fine.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, we all know. So today's session is all about how to apply policies for cloud applications. One of the Anypoint platform features that we have is API manager. So we'll be making use of this API manager to apply policies for cloud app applications. Not only cloud app application, I have confined to cloud app applications for this session, but even if it is an on-prem deployment, it is the same process. Okay. So how to I think for people who are already have experience on how to apply policies, this might be something boring for you. But people who are new to MuleSoft, or still if you have any doubts on how to apply policies, this session will be useful for you. I'll be showing you step by step how to apply policies with and without creating proxy applications. Okay, so let's get started. First, what is API manager? API manager helps us to apply policies and grant or revoke the access to APIs. So this is the main feature, one of the best features in API. As we always say, right? MuleSoft is one-stop place for APIs. You can design your APIs, you can develop your APIs, you can deploy your APIs, you can manage your APIs. That's why we call it as one-stop place, right? So you can apply policies in API manager. And my slides are very limited, guys. We have only 11 slides. I will concentrate more on hands-on part. Okay, so next, we have two ways to apply policies for cloud app applications. Okay, one is without creating proxy APIs, and the other one is by creating proxy APIs. So what are the pros and cons we'll be discussing? Okay, so the main difference between two of them is either using an API ID in auto discovery of your actual application. This is without creating your proxy application. Or Mule itself will create a proxy application on top of your actual application, which has API auto discovery. Okay, that is the main difference, one of the main differences between creating a proxy application and not creating a proxy application. I will also show you in the hands-on part what is this API auto discovery and all, and how it is auto configured in proxy application. All right. So first we will be discussing about applying policies without creating proxy APIs. One moment. I'll stop my video so that it will save my internet. So first thing, what you have to do is create API specification. So I'll be directly driving through the steps on how to apply policies without creating proxy API. So please concentrate on each and every point because your trivia quiz will be on this one. All right. So first, what you have to do is create an API specification for all RESTful. So we do apply policies for only web services, isn't it? Whether it is RESTful application or SOAP application, because we have some listener to listen. So that's where we apply policies. Why are we applying policies? First of all, we are applying policies because uh, it's like we don't want each and everyone to access our API, right? So to restrict them, we are applying policies. Just like if we have a home, right, we don't want everyone to get into our home, so we just keep a gate, right? uh, so that if we have some watchmen over there, they will scrutinize who is coming and they will make them enter our home, something like that in real time scenario, right? So first, create API specification from design center and publish to exchange once tested. Once it is done, go to API manager and click on manage API and select from manage API from exchange. There are other options as well, but this is the common process which we all use, right? Next, select the API name that you have designed in the design center, and then API ID is generated once you click on save. So this is how API ID is generated. All right. So now the next step is you have to go to your code, add the auto discovery element and provide API ID that you got in the above step, right? Next, now you deploy your application by providing. This is one of the important steps which most of them might have failed. I know most of you in real-time projects, you have a DevOps team who take care of all these policies and all. But if you want to know that how exactly these policies are applied for your APIs, this step is very important, that you have to deploy your application by providing API anypoint client ID and anypoint client secret, which you can get from access management environments tab. So if now, once it is deployed in runtime manager, you can see in the API manager that it will turn to active, and now you are good to apply policies. If I say these steps, you will definitely forget, so I wanted to do some hands-on this. So guys, are you with me? Yes. Perfect. So now I'm logging into Anypoint platform. Guys who are new to Mulesoft or something, you have like anypoint.mulesoft.com, which has many features. Please log in, and this is how your screen would be. So the first step, what I said, like probably you might have already designed a API, right? You must have an API specification. So I'm not going to explain about RAML and all, but I can show one of my RAML, which I have designed for testing purpose. I can show you that. So here is a simple RAML that I have created. One is get order details. The other one is create order. I have a get method and post method. So I have my endpoints and we have some sample response here, right? So once it is done, the thing which I have told already is, now before going to publish to exchange, click on publish. There is an option here. Click on publish to exchange. Okay. I have already published it to Exchange, but still, if it is a new version, you can edit your version also. So this is my second version. So I am clicking on Publish to Exchange. So this is the first step that we need to do. Why is the question, right? Why we need to publish it to Anypoint Exchange is, if you go to API Manager, if you want to apply or manage an API, you'll be having three options. One is manage API from Exchange, the other one is create new API, and the other one is import. So already here you can see add a new API by uploading a RAML, OS, or SOAP, right? But as we have already designed our application in design center, we have our raml ready. So you can see here it is published to exchange. So once it is published to exchange, here you can see it is saying manage API from exchange. So once you click on this option, here you have to give the name of the API that you have published to exchange. So what is my API name? Order details. Correct? So if you search, it will automatically show you the list of APIs that are present in exchange. So click on order details. So what is our first task? Apply policies without creating a proxy application. So once you have selected your API name, you can see automatically the API versions and asset versions are already shown. So my latest asset version is 1.0.2. So I am using this. As I said, I am not going to go with the second option, which is proxy application. So without creating proxy application, I wanted to apply my policies. So that's the reason I'm going to basic endpoint here. Okay. And then, yes, it is a Mule application. All right. And your Mule version is Mule 4. If you have Mule 3, you can select Mule 3 option. For now, I'm not giving any implementation URL because it is optional. And you can see some advanced option. It is always best practice to provide a label, but I will show you where you can again change the label name. Okay. Click on save. That's it. Very simple, right? So here you can see an API ID is being generated, right? Guys, you're with me? Understood? Perfect. So now that we got our API ID, according to our slides, what is the next step? Go to your code, add auto discovery, and provide that the API ID that you got generated. Now I'll open my Anypoint Studio. Okay. So let me delete my. I have all. Okay. Let me delete this and show you again. So how do you basically import your project? Let me delete the ones which are already there. So now I'll go to file, new Mule project, right? I'll say order details. I'll give some project name. You can either create a project and then import from design center, or there is an option here itself, download raml from design center. If you go here to the location, it will ask you to log in first. I have already logged in, so it will be showing here, and search for your design center name. Okay, that is order details. Click on OK. Now it will scaffold for some time. Now it is saying you are importing the following API. Okay. Once it is done, once you see the tick mark over here, click on finish, so that basic flows will be generated from raml. You can see here my raml is generated. The flows are generated using raml. What was the second option? Once you created a project, you must have, like, you can just right click on this. Okay. And go to any point platform, and there is an option here as well. So one and the same, both are one and the same here. Now I am not going to add any logic to it because we are concentrating more on how to apply our policies to our applications, right? Before deploying our application, just make sure that your listener, if you edit it, you can see there is a port 8081 by default. It's always better, don't give 8081. It is always better to give http dot port. If it is a http service, https dot port, then it will be a https service. And make sure before deploying your application, it should be all interfaces 0.0.0, not local host, when you want to deploy on cloud app. Okay, just save it. Okay, now next thing what I have said, one moment. Next thing what I have told, that you have to go to global elements. Okay, copy the API auto discovery element. So what is the global element name here? If you search for auto, right, you can see the global element name is API auto discovery. Okay, this is the global element that we need to configure to get these policies applied to your application. Okay, I'll click on OK. So now here is where you have to provide your API ID in your real-time projects and all. You must have kept this API IDs and all in property files, but this is just a demo, so I am just directly hard coding this value. And what is the flow name that you have to give? There is always a question, right? It will show all the four flow names over here. You have to always give your flow name to main, because that's where your requests are coming, right? So listener, why I am giving the main flow? Because your requests are coming to the listener, so you have to apply those policies at the listener point even before going to your API. If the policy is if suppose some authentication is applied on your API, if the client or consumer is not providing those details, it will restrict there itself. Clear? So now we are good, right? We have completed this step as well. Sorry. So this step is completed. Then now next point is now deploy your application by providing endpoint client ID and client secret. Now for that, first what I would do is I wanted to deploy this application manually. So I'll just right click and run the application to create this snapshot, the jar file. And parallelly, while it is getting deployed, I'll go to my runtime manager here first and make it ready. Any doubts so far, guys? We need to give implementation URL also, right? It is not necessary. It is always an optional. Okay. Yeah, I think Ikram answered that. Thank you, Ikram. So I'll show you when implementation URL is important. All right. So this is your runtime manager. I'm using sandbox environment. I'll click on application name. Now I'll give a name like same order details. I'll choose my application deployment targets as Cloud Hub because I don't have any on-prem servers running, and I have to choose a file. I'll see my application is deployed or not. Can you guys tell me why it is failed here? Any idea? Define http port in global property file. Okay, Victor, you are right. That is the reason it is failing, but still, it will fail on your local, but when you are deploying this application into Cloud Hub, it will not fail because internally Mulesoft Cloud Hub will take this HTTP port internally as 8081 when it is deploying into AWS. When I say Cloud Hub, all our applications are deployed into AWS instances. So internally, they have this value. So we don't have to explicitly provide this, because in future, if they change their mind and change the port name to 8081 to 8082, it will happen internally, so we don't have to bother it. On local, yes, of course it will fail to deploy, but still you can see, like, I'm not going to add http port anywhere. This is a misconception again, most of them have. So I'll go to target. So I'll copy my jar file. It is like 3:34 p.m. my time. So open it. Got your doubt clear, Victor? Yeah, no, your answer was right. It is failing because on local, because I am not providing this http port value, but on Cloud Hub it will deploy. So the last step is, if you can see, you now deploy your application by providing anypoint client ID and secret. Okay, there was a so in the previous version of anypoint platform, previously what used to happen is, if we are not providing that, if you go to properties, this is where you have, here is the place where you have to provide client ID and secret. But previously what used to happen is, yes, even if you are not providing your client ID and secret, your application is deployed successfully. This is the previous version. Okay, but now if you're not providing, you can see like application is deployed previously, and but still you won't be seeing active status in API manager. But now these days in latest version, you will see that your application keeps on deploying and say an error that we cannot deploy your it's more than 5 minutes or something, there is an error. So if you see that error, that means definitely you might have done something wrong by not providing either anypoint platform client credentials, or if they are wrong values. Okay, so where to get them? Just don't get confused between client ID enforcement credentials and anypoint platform credentials. Okay, so I'll go to the new tab. As I said in my PPT, you can get these values from access management. Clear? So I may have to stop sharing screen for a while by providing the values. Okay, so what I'll do is, this is my access management, guys. In your real time projects or when you're working for some clients, you might not have access to access management unless and until you have DevOps access, right? But if you want to try out something new, don't keep that as a reason that, I don't have access to access management. You can create your own trial account and try out these things. Okay, I told you have to go to environments tab, choose your environment where you are deploying. I am deploying my application into sandbox environment. Click on sandbox, copy the client ID. All right, go to runtime manager. So the exact key is anypoint dot platform dot client underscore ID. It's not client ID, it's not client capital I camel case ID. The correct value is anypoint dot platform dot client underscore ID. Paste it, and then anypoint dot platform dot client underscore secret, which I'm not going to show you, but you can provide some value over here. I'll stop my sharing for a while. Meanwhile, I stop sharing my screen. I'll copy my client secret. Okay, so okay, I'll share my screen again. I have copied. Let me know. So now I'll click my deploy my application here. So my application will be deployed. You can observe few things what is happening while deploying in the logs. And there will be a question again, as this is a demo API, right? I am directly providing my client credentials from my runtime. These are called runtime properties, but you can provide these property values through your Bamboo pipeline or using CI/CD integration, right? Or you can provide those anypoint platform client ID, client secret values at your code level. So these property values can be passed at any point of stage. You can pass them directly here in the project. You can pass them in the pom.xml as well. You will be having that option, right? There will be many properties. So here you can see, right, there is a properties value. So you can see app.runtime everything, right? So you can add one more value. You can pass it here, or you can also pass it using CI/CD. Guys, are you with me? Any questions so far? Can you add cloud up secret password property in your property? Yes, you can add. And if you are adding this, isn't it, when you're building this application, the jar file itself will have that endpoint platform client ID and secret. And if you just upload the jar itself, you can automatically see those values are present in runtime properties. Victor, does that answer your question? Great. So let's wait for this application to get deployed, and let's observe few things. Oops. Okay, I can change my credentials, not a worry. And let me go to Anypoint API manager as well. As long as your application is not deployed, it will always show in your API manager the status as unregistered. Okay, the status is non-registered. Again, you can see there is a new view these days, right? In API manager, this is the new view. So you have all the versions, instances, everything here. The total number of requests, everything will be displayed in this view. Okay. So you can see my application is started automatically, and few things I wanted to show you is, if I do Control F, if I say blog, okay, initially when your application has started, it will say API key, whatever API ID we got, it is say that it will be saying that it is blocked and it is unavailable. This is during the starting point of deployment. But once your application is deployed, so once the connection is made to API manager, you can see here now it will say API key is now unblocked and it is available. Only if you see this statement, then only you can find here the status as active. You can see it is still unregistered, but if you refresh for a moment, it will take some time to get active, but now you can see the status is active. Clear? So unless and until if you are not seeing this statement, that means something might have went wrong, and that's the reason you are seeing this unregistered. So personally, when I deploy my applications, right, I always look for this statement so that I am good and I am not making any mistakes. Any questions so far? So you are seeing active status here, and now we are good to apply policy. Perfect. Okay. So now before applying my policy, let me go to my URL. I'll just copy this URL. So I'll paste this, send this request. So here, no listener for endpoint. That means at least it is trying to make a connection to our API and we are able to hit it because we are getting some HTTP status code. That means no policy applied now. Okay. We are getting no listener endpoint because we have something like API get order details. If I send the request, I'm getting the response. Now the reason why we need to use policies is, that this cloud up URL access can be accessed by anyone. Anyone can send this request to us, right? So to restrict them, we are applying policies. So now applying policies is very easy, guys. One thing you need to understand here, why Mulesoft is one of the best platforms when it comes to integration. As I said, Mulesoft is not just useful to design or develop application or deploy applications. It is providing you an easier way to apply your policies without coding itself. Till now, except adding API ID, that is also, I don't say it is a coding part, but do you see any code that we are writing? No, right? Yes or no? Do we have any code so far that we have written to apply policies? No. So you have to understand how MuleSoft is helping us to minimize our efforts. Clear? Now to apply policies, click on this API name. All right. There is an option to your left side called policies. Okay. Now here you can see there is an option to add new policies. MuleSoft by default provides number of policies over here. I'm not going to describe about all the policies here. Our scope is to just know how to apply policies. Okay, but there are number of policies over here. Also, if you have any custom policy that you have created and deployed to Exchange, you can find those custom policies also over here. You can see all categories here. If you want to know only custom policies, you can see I have a custom policy here, but this is my policy. Then it's a very simple one. But custom policy is again a different topic. I can provide you, we can have another session on custom policies. But right now, I'm going to apply the default policies which we have. Before going to client ID enforcement, I will use a very basic authentication policy. I'll click on this, click on configuration policies. So here it is saying username password. For now, I will provide my own username password. You can create your custom basic authentication by providing username password. So another good option that we have is you can apply policies to all the methods and resources, or to specific methods or resources. First, let's see how to apply configuration to all the API methods and resources, and then let's see how to apply method specific application. Okay. Another question for you guys who are like probably who are new, you may not answer. Now tell me, I have applied my policies before deploying application. Good questions, Ravan. I'll tell you that. Okay. So but first answer my question. Before applying policy, sorry, now you can see I have applied policies after deploying the application, correct? Now I have applied policies after deploying my application. Tell me whether we need to restart our application again in runtime manager or not. No, don't you think this is really a good feature? Right, we are not making any we are not changing anything or running redeploying. If it is now or now tell me, if I change any property file value, do we need to redeploy the application? Property value, yes. So you have to understand the difference. Property file is something code change, but this is something out of your code. Applying policies is out of your code, right? So there is no need for you to redeploy your application. Good, you are right. So you have to just wait for 20 to 30 seconds to make this policies applied on your APIs. Now what I'll do is I'll say no auth and try to run this application. So what it is saying, registered authentication is set to HTTP basic authentication, but there was no security. That means it is saying, in short, you have applied policies to your application, but you have not provided your authentication. So this is my username and password that I have given already. Now if I provide them, it says it is successful request. And if I provide wrong password, it will say authentication attempt failed. Okay. If you are not passing, there is a different error. You can see, right? Both are 401, but the error message is different. But if you pass and if you give the wrong value, it will say authentication attempt failed. So far, clear, guys? Any questions so far? Gatekeeper is something which will help you to deploy your application. It's like gateway. Okay, so it's like, proxy, like the authentication which you are passing, it will be like it's like gatekeeper, real gatekeeper. If you have a home who act like, if we have a gatekeeper, right? So if you keep it, acts like that. Okay, that is during the deployment. Clear, everyone? Shall we move further? How to apply policies for method specific? Perfect. So now, how to apply method specific policy? I'll go here. Now I'll just edit. If you want to edit the existing policy also, you can go to actions, click on edit. Here, now what I'll do is I'll go to apply configurations to specific methods and resources, and then choose a method. Now what I'll do is I have, you can see in my API designer, I have create order and get order details. What I will do is I don't want to apply policy on get method, but I want only to apply policy on post method. And go to URI templates. You can see there is an option for you to use this regex operation. Okay, it's always, if you are not confident about your path, URI path, it's always better to use dot star. This get account details is again wrong, because my, what is my path here? Create order, right? Okay, give something like this and click on apply. Again, as I said, we have modified the policy. There is no need for us to redeploy our application. Rather, we should wait for 20 to 30 seconds to make this apply. So now let me not pass the authentication for get method. It should give success response. You can see now policy is not applied on get method, but let me try to use post method and pass create order. And first, even before sending the body, because you might know, like, post, why are you not sending body? I am going to test whether my policy is applied or not, because body is secondary thing. Like, if you are passing body or not, if you are testing bad syntax, right, bad request, that means you have passed through the policy. But I don't want to check that first. Now you can see post method, it is saying that you have to pass authentication. Now after passing this basic auth and providing, now it will give bad request, because, like, unsupported media type one is. So I can say go to body and JSON. If I give empty things here like this, you can see order is created. So this is, now again, if I go to my authorization and don't pass this, it will say authentication is required. And if you go to get method, here it is not required, policy is not required. This is how you apply your policies for resource level or method level. Clear, everyone, so far? Shall we move on further? Great. So this is about this thing. Next, going back to our slides. So applying automated policies. So what are these automated policies? Okay, you can apply automated policies only, which are only available for Mule runtime engine, Mule 4 version. Okay, automated policy are for Mule 4 runtime. All right, and these automated policies support all deployment targets, whether it is cloud hub or RTF or hybrid. right? These automated policies supports all kind of deployment targets. Next is automated policies have priority of the same types of policies already applied to specific API proxy. I'll try to show you what it is. Okay, so let's do some hands-on again. So what are automated policies? If you go to your API manager back here, I'll go back. You will be having series of application. Now, if there is any scenario where you have to apply, so in your organization, it is a common process that you are going to apply client ID enforcement for all applications. That is a must. So instead of you going to each application, go to policies, apply for each and application, we have a good option for automated policy. If you go to here in automated policy, what it will happen is, if you apply new automated policy, for example, I will give client ID enforcement as my automated policy. Configure the policy. I'll say like HTTP basic authentication and click on apply. Okay, what will happen is, each application that is deployed now or it is invoked in API manager, by default this particular policy is applied. Okay, so there was a question asked by someone, right? Why don't we apply policies even, can we apply policies even before deploying application? Yes, you can apply, and then and there after deploying application your policies will be applied. Okay, so here in this case, if you are having automated policies, you can see that, but again, here if you go to policies, can you see here we have an automated policy. Now go here and send the request. Okay, one moment. Authentication denied. Here you can see now, though you are passing basic auth, it is giving invalid client. Why? Because first, when you are applying some automated policies, your automated policies will take precedence first. Means first it will check this policy, then only it will go to basic authentication. Even though if you are not providing basic authentication here, right? You can see authentication denied will be the error. Okay, I'll click on basic authentication and send it. It will say invalid client. And now what you have to do for client ID enforcement, tell me where you can get client ID and client secret. Any idea? In Exchange. So there will be a lot of confusion between Anypoint platform client credentials and client enforcement client credentials, right? So to get Anypoint platform, sorry, to get client ID enforcement credentials, you have to go to Exchange. Okay, I don't know, somehow all features will be here, but Exchange is the only one. It is here. Click on Exchange. Go to your order details, and there will be an option to request access here. When you click on this three dotted line, click on request access, select your instance type. Here it is showing v1, right? Now I'll cancel for a moment and give a label name to it. I'm not sure. View configuration details, blah 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 blah. Okay, I will go back, click on this, add a label like sandbox. Okay, I'll go here to Exchange again. Here you can see request access API instance. Can you see what are the labels? Previously we didn't had this label, so it was showing v1 and the API ID. But if you configure a label with the proper name, you can select your environment. Then select your application. If you, these are already there, my applications are already present. Application is something who wants to request your application, right? So if you do, if you have a new application name, Postman testing. So because I am testing from Postman, I'll create one application for it and request access. Okay, Then once you got this request access, you will be having client ID and client secret. Now what I have to do, as I have given client ID and enforcement in basic authentication, I send this values. You can see authentication attempt failed because there is another basic authentication that I have given. Now there are two policies that I have applied which needs to be passed on basic headers, right? So it is not possible. Either I have to change this client ID enforcement or to change this basic authentication, uh, because basic authentication definitely needs this one, username and password. And even I am asking client ID and client secret to pass it in basic auth headers. So for now, I am removing this basic authentication, and I can apply any other new policies like, I can use like rate limiting, configure policy. So for this I need to use some headers, but for the moment let me see. Time period 1 minute, define if headers should be exposed in the response to the client, blah blah blah. Let me try. Okay, if I send this request, you can see my order is created. That one probably it might take time, or I have to use some header over here to make this applied. I think I have to use some, uh, I'm not sure, I have to use some identifier here. But this is how you can apply rate limiting policy. I can show you that later, but this is how you can apply automated policy. Clear? Everyone, shall we move on to next topic?
Just add one more
Yes,
point here.
please. Yeah.
So we can just want to say that we can add multiple policies as well, and you
Yes.
can control the sequence in which the policies get applied. There will be a field called order, so you can
Correct.
change the order of the policy so that you can control the sequence in which the policies get applied.
Yes. For example, if you say like IP whitelisting for, like, I'll use this IP. Of course, I will not share this all these things, but allow list you can have something. 192.168 dot no, something dot something. Okay, I'll just apply. This is not a correct IP address, but if you have policies, but again, automated policies will always take precedence. Okay,
Yeah.
that is the first one. You cannot change the order for automated policies. But if you click on add one more policies like some probably same basic authentication. Okay, configure policies, apply. Okay, here what it will, if you want to edit policy order, click on this edit policy order and you can change it here, whether you want to change IP first. If you want basic authentication first, you can have it there. If you want IP allow list, you can just drag it over here. So there you can apply the order. This is what Ikram was telling. Thanks for that point.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
Yeah. So now what I would like to do is this part of applying policies without proxy application is done. So we have already discussed about method specific one. Okay. Let's discuss about applying policies by creating proxy application. So let me clean up some things. Okay. I'll go to here, my API manager, delete it first. Okay, I think I have to remove contracts first. Okay, remove. So before deleting this application, guys, in API manager, if you are having any contracts, because already Postman is having a contract, right? So that's why it is not allowing you to delete the application right away. For that, first you have to, I was telling you, right? API manager has access to give access and revoke access for the contractors. So this is how we revoke, then delete it, and then only you'll be having access to delete your application in API manager. This is instance. Okay, delete API. Now it can be deleted. If you have any pending contracts, you have to first revoke that and then delete your application. Now let me go to my runtime manager. delete this application as well, because I'm not going to use API ID for proxy application. So this we have seen. So now apply policies by creating proxy APIs. So creating API specification and publishing to exchange, it is done. Okay, that is first step. It is common. Then go to API manager, just we did in the previous step, manage API from exchange. Then select the API name that you have designed in design center, and previously we have used use basic path, right? Now we have to choose the option endpoint with proxy. Clear? That's the only change. Next, you have to give your implementation URL and the proxy name, and then click deploy proxy application. It will deploy a new app in runtime manager. This keeps of manually invoking API ID and client ID and secret. All right. And add consumer endpoint with your proxy URL and apply policies. Again, all this is theoretical part, but let's see hands on how to do it. Now, just to give a recap of what we have done previously, right? We we had this process of generating API ID. Then we had this process of invoking that API ID in auto discovery element in our global element. That is a manual process. Then to get client anypoint platform client ID and secret, we went to access management, went to environments tab, fetch those values, passed it in runtime properties to avoid all those things. So what we are doing is we are creating a proxy app on top of your application, so that all those process will be taken care by proxy app. It is just, don't think this word as a big word. Okay, proxy apps are just nothing but a second level security, I can say. Like, instead of directly calling your actual endpoint, you are calling some other endpoint, and that endpoint is internally calling your actual endpoint. I'll show you that as well, but before that, let's go to hands on. So what I can do is, uh, I'll go to my anypoint studio, go to order details. I will remove my global element here. Okay, I'll remove my global element, save it. Let me run this application first. Okay, first I will deploy my application, actual application where you have all your logic and all. Deploy my application into runtime manager without providing API ID. Again, this you when you are giving some endpoint to the client, you have to provide the proxy endpoint but not your actual endpoint. Okay, that you have to be taking care of. So my application is failed because of that reason, but let me go to runtime manager, deploy the application again, order details, load up, choose the file, 4:05 p.m. open. You can see, okay, I am not passing any client ID, so I am not passing API ID in my, like, not adding API auto discovery, and I am not passing any platform credentials. Just I am clicking deploy application. Let us give it a minute. Okay, meanwhile this is getting deployed, I'll go to API manager and do our remaining stuff. So as usual, go to so you have done this step, right? Going to design center, publishing to exchange, and you can find this in exchange, correct? So now go back to your API manager, click on manage from exchange, search for order details again, click on this. Everything is same, the only difference is you have to choose endpoint with proxy, and your deployment target is cloud up, and you are using Mule 4. So what would be the implementation URL? I'll tell you. Once we get implementation URL, is nothing but the application which you wanted to access internally, right? So that means the application, whatever application is deployed over here, right? That is the application. So let me copy this. This would be the URL. Go to implementation URL, http colon slash, and give it till API, and don't give additional backslash or something. Okay, just go till API, so that I'll show you in real time how it can be accessed. Okay, this is your implementation URL. For now, don't configure anything. If you see advanced option, it is saying like which port you want to use and all. Just click on save. Of course, there will be API ID that is generated. Oops. What is it? Okay, sorry, my bad. Click on save. This API ID is generated, but we are not going to use or do anything out of it. Okay, let's wait for this application to get deployed. Okay, and the next step after clicking on save is, if you just scroll down here, it is asking for deployment configuration, which we will be doing now. Now select the runtime 4.3.0 and give some name. So I will say order details hyphen proxy. Update if application is exists. I don't have any application as such. Now you can see order details, right? Order details, it is deployed. And let me go to applications. Order details is there. This is your actual application, and never ever give your cloud hub URL or your endpoint to your consumers, because you don't have any policies applied to it. So what you are doing now is, you are going like, a proxy application is going to deploy here. When I click on deploy over here, you can see here a new application is being deployed to runtime manager. So what is that new application? I will show you by downloading the jar. Okay. If I go to applications, can you see here there is an application automatically getting deployed, right? If I go here, how do I know that what is there in the code? I can simply click on this jar file, so that it will deploy it on my local. What I'll do is, out of my interest, I'll see what is happening inside. Okay, so I'll close my all tabs here. Meanwhile, my application, proxy application, is getting deployed. I'll see what is there in that proxy application. So right click, import. I have downloaded my jar file. So go here, this one, right? Open and finish. You can see here, this is your proxy application. Okay, so what is happening here, this is your proxy endpoint that we are going to give it to client. All right, and this is the HTTP request. So what is there in this HTTP requester is, you can see everything is there in property file. If I go and check in property files, configuration properties, you can see all this is your actual host, right? Isn't it the one which I have shown you? This is your actual endpoint. So what is doing, what is this proxy application doing? It is calling internally our original application, the actual application, with the endpoint and details. It's just another application on top of this. Clear? And there are some very good features here. You can see in global elements there is API auto discovery, the value of API ID, it is there in this configuration properties. 541 here, which is nothing but this one. You can see here, right? 541. So I didn't do anything. The Mulesoft itself is able to deploy an application with all these details. Correct? API ID is there 541, and that's the reason once your application order details proxy is deployed, that's why you will see active now. It is not showing active because you have to refresh it. It will take a bit of time. So to again check if it is having, sorry, unblock. You can see it is now unblocked. Definitely it should be an active state. You can see it is in active state now. Okay, so you can see out of this proxy application, what is happening behind is, now consumer will call this listener. You can see the auto discovery is also having the main flow. proxy. This should be your main flow here, proxy. And then these are some validators, and here it will send the request. Now you have to add the consumer endpoint over here. Consumer endpoint is nothing but you can just copy this proxy URL. Okay, click on this and paste it. Just give your back forward slash over here and just end it. Now what you have to do, sorry, this is wrong. It should be HTTP. Okay, this. Now I didn't apply any policies for this one, order details, right? Proxy API. I'll go ahead. Okay, there is already this automated policy. What I'll do is first I will remove this automated policies because I wanted to show it clear. Go to administration, go to this, go to policies, add new policies. Let me use basic authentication as only. Configure policy. I'll say Sravan and apply. Now let me copy this endpoint. So I have to, this is the implementation URL and this is the proxy URL. So what will happen now? Now I don't want this API now because I have already given that in implementation URL, that API name. So what I can do, I can just skip this part and paste it over here. Okay. Now if I don't send anything, create order, it is saying registration authentication. So we are not passing any authentication. But if I click on basic authentication, it is give. Okay, this is wrong. I am using Shravan. Shravan. If I send this request, okay, order is created. Clear everyone? What is the problem? It's very simple. It's just you are deploying additional application or just for more authentication. Okay, second level of authentication, we are deploying an application. And what are the advantages of having proxy application and all, I'll show you in my slide. What are the pros and cons? It's not just about advantages. So this part is done. And pros and cons without proxy application. So if you are not, if you are directly configuring that API ID and all, you will save a vCore and worker, right? In case of proxy application, what is happening? For one application, two applications are deployed total, right? One is your actual application and the other one is your proxy application. That means if you are deploying two applications, we need two 0.1 vCores and two workers, which, and you know that Mulesoft license is all about vCores and workers, isn't it? So that one we can save, right? Next, as a developer, this is a con, I can say. Like as a developer, you have to know the client ID and client secret unless the deployment is managed by CI/CD process, right? And you need to manually create a global element to invoke API auto discovery. Next, you will expose your actual endpoint to the client and consumer. This is another one. Use case when we have to go with without proxy application is if your APIs are used within the organization, within intranet, you can choose this option where we can share this endpoints directly. This saves over the vCore. Okay, this is without proxy application. Then what about with proxy application? You will need additional vCore and worker for each proxy app you deploy. And as a developer, you don't have to know what is client ID and secret since it is managed internally. And one more thing I wanted to show you, I'll complete this slide. No need for this manual process of using API ID or client ID or client secret. Everything is done automatically within proxy application. You will expose your proxy endpoint over the actual endpoint to the client or consumer. Use case, if your APIs are used out of your organization or some third party one, you can always choose this option where we can share the endpoints of proxy app instead of actual endpoint. This gives more security. It's not, it's not, again, it's, we should use this option even for like, it's all about your own choice. You can sit with your stakeholders or center for enablement team and discuss what is best for your applications and go with or without proxy application. Clear? Clear? One more thing I wanted to show is, if you look at details proxy here in settings, in properties tab, you can see I didn't add anything from going to access management and all. And also you can see secret value is being masked. Why? Again, to check that, if you go to your proxy application, somewhere in Mule artifact JSON, where is this? Yep, here in Mule artifact JSON, there is something secure properties. In that secure properties, you are defining the key name anypoint dot platform dot client underscore secret. Anything under secure properties, those values will be masked over here. If you add anypoint dot platform dot client underscore ID here, even this value will be masked. Clear? This is all about how you can pros and cons means good and bad things. Okay, advantages. Yeah. So this is all about applying policies with or without you know, proxy applications. Guys, are you clear on this part? Yes, no's? Are we good? If you have any questions, you can ask, or you can always reach out to us like Ikram or me over LinkedIn. Please make use of these social media platforms for, you know, good use. Okay, you can always feel free to reach out to us. Hope this session, you are liking this session. And as I said, if you have any feedback, you can always feel free to provide that. At the end of the meetup, you will be getting a mail. All right. So before that, I wanted to tell something before going to trivia quiz. I wanted to ask if you have any doubts regarding community. If not, if you don't have any doubts, you can. I'll stop here, guys. Can we go with community details? Or if you have any doubts, you can post it now. Okay. So some regarding community details, guys. If you are new to community, always feel free to contact. So these meetups and all are for a purpose, right? Why these are free of cost? It's because to interact with each other, with the community, to know more about the community. Now that we know, we have a lot of mules of mentors. Even Ikram is one of our mules of mentors. Mules of mentors, ambassadors, leaders are meant for helping the community. It's not just the tag which they are given to us, but we are here to help you out. If you have any questions, you can reach out to any of the mentors or any of the ambassadors or leaders. Or not only if they are not leaders or them, anyone who knows Mule can help the community. All right. And there are a lot of questions that people keep on asking regarding the vouchers. Even before you playing a trivia quiz, guys who have already won a trivia quiz less than a month before, like in last 30 days, if you have won a trivia quiz and if you are awarded with a training voucher, guys, you are not eligible for playing this quiz. Okay, even if you have won it, you are just making some other person to not get this training voucher. So please don't play if you have won a voucher already in last 30 days, because it will be monthly once. All right. Next, regarding training. Okay, people who won this trivia quiz will be awarded with a training voucher. It's not certification voucher, it is a training voucher. Again, or once you attend this training, then you will be awarded with a certification voucher. It's not that if you want only certification voucher, no, it is not allowed. You have to attend the training, it is must. And once you attend this training, then only you will be getting a certification attempt. Unless and until you don't go through this training part, you won't be having certification voucher. And trivia quiz we are going to play. And thank you for your time, Ikram. If you have any questions before, like if you have something to say, I'll stop my screen sharing regarding community. If you want to have anything
I think so.
to
You
share.
have covered everything. So it's fine.
Okay, great. So guys, are you ready with Kahoot? Do you want to play trivia quiz? Okay, people who don't know Kahoot, Kahoot is an online quiz game that you will be playing. What will happen is I'll be sharing a game pin with you. Please open your mobile browsers. Don't use your laptop because you cannot move your tabs here and there to see the to see the questions and click on the answers, because it's like who tap the answers right fast. It's like fastest fingers first. Okay. Instead of client ID, you can define in POM. Yes, Sandhya, it is right. Okay. Please open your mobiles and enter kahoot.it. Open your browsers and enter kahoot.it. uh, please be ready. I'll be sharing a game pin, and please provide a valid name. No Tom, Jim. Okay. It's like please enter your full name, or no nicknames, no pet names, please. So let me, guys, everyone open your this one mobiles. All right, I am sharing my screen. This is the pin number. I'll wait. You can see I'm also posting it in the chat box. Please enter your valid name here. Open your mobiles in your browsers. Enter kahoot.it. Guys, I'll wait for 1 more minute. So I'll tell you how to play. People who are new, what will happen is I'll be displaying you the questions. You'll be having 10 seconds or 20 seconds based upon the question. You have to see the correct answer. And on your mobile, you'll be having four colors. You won't be having answers. You will be having only colors. So you have to tap on the right color by looking at your laptop. Clear? Anyone, any doubts? Not able to. Full name as in, okay. But Parakota, I remember you have won a voucher yesterday, so I think you are not eligible for the game. I do remember your name, long name. Are we good? Shall we start? You will be receiving Parakota. It will take 2 to 3 weeks to receive a voucher. But as I said, like if you have one voucher in last 30 days, you are not eligible for that. Okay.
Some other people the opportunity to get another voucher.
Sure. Yeah. So please tap on the correct color. On your mobile, you won't be having answers. It will be like four different colors. And on your mobile, you have to look what it is. Which answer
Basically,
is
each
correct?
question, each answer will have a separate color code, and you need to
Yes.
select
Yeah. And people who answer the correct questions within short period of time will be the winners. Ikram, meanwhile, you can take screenshots. Okay.
yeah, sure.
Shall we start, guys? Everyone? All right. I'm going to start the game. I am locking the screen. So let this is your first question. We have 6 questions. Just concentrate and answer the question. What is the name of global element to set API ID? Okay, most of them said auto discovery, but you can see the global element name is API auto discovery. Just to show you, the global element name is API auto discovery. Okay, so let's see who is on the leaderboard. We have Anuradha Suram, Madhu, and Brittany. So everyone is close. Let's go for the next question. What happens if API ID is not matching to the API IDs in API Manager? Okay, what will happen? It shows the unregistered in API manager. Okay, let's see who is on the leaderboard. We have same top three contestants, guys. You still have chance. We have four more questions. So next question: what are the properties need to provide during deployment to make it active in API manager? Be careful in answering them. Good. So it is the anypoint.platform.client underscore ID and client underscore secret. Let's see who is on leaderboard. We have Anuradha, Brittany, and Dinesh. So we still have time, guys. Few more questions. Next question. To apply client ID enforcement policy, where can we get client ID and secret values? So it is Anypoint Exchange where you can find client ID and enforcement value. So let's see who is on leaderboard. Okay, again the leaderboard changed. Anuradha Suram is still leading, and Madhu and Sham are in second and third place. We have two more questions. Don't worry. Let's see. Which is not a true statement? Good. So it's like it's not that you can apply only one policy, client ID enforcement. You can apply any policies in automated policies. So let's see. Again, Anuradha leading and Sham and Rakesh. The leaderboard is changing. Last question. So you have chance. Okay. Be careful in answering the question. Where is API ID generated? Very hard question at the end, isn't it? All right, most of them answered this question. So let's see. Our quiz is completed. Let's see who is in third position first. Rakesh, congratulations. Sham K, congratulations. And congratulations, Anuradha Suram. Guys, congratulations. And Dinesh and Madhu, you did a great job. And don't worry, guys, you have lot of meetups going on every day as well. It's not like every month, it's every day. So just try it out. Better luck next time. Also, I said like there are other ways as well. You can be speaker as well. Okay. And congratulations, everyone. Everyone showed a great effort, as said by Whitney. If you want to speak or something, we have like like 15 minutes, guys. Anyone, if you
Yeah.
want to speak up, I
And
can.
guys, can you
Yeah.
share the winners can share their email IDs?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, please
Guys,
share in the
winners,
chat.
please share the
Sham,
email.
Anuradha, and Rakesh.
Guys, share your email IDs with this. And if you have any questions regarding community, you can chat. Please don't forget to provide the feedback.
Or the email IDs.
Okay. Where can I get previous meetups? What do you mean by previous meetups, Arvind?
You mean the recordings? It should be in the meetup page.
Yeah. Ikram probably he might be uploading
Okay.
these recordings. Okay, recordings will be uploaded. You have to give 1 day time at least for the me leader. Can we get this recording? I think we can stop recording, right, Ikram?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
We can get